And keep it going for our friend Jason, everybody.
Back when I was in middle school, I used to go to a monthly spelling bee, and took place at a bar, which meant that normally I wouldn't have been allowed to spell because there were a bunch of adults there. And this is at Pete's Candy Store in Brooklyn, for anyone who was wondering. But they let me spell anyway. They made an exception for me. So eventually, the host, whose name was Jennifer, she had to stop the spelling bee because even before COVID, because she had a baby. But the spelling bee was fun while it lasted. So there was one guy who was there who spelled, and he was one of the best spellers there. His name was Marcus Bones, and Marcus never missed a word. He would always get every single word correct, and there were times that they would stop the show because they would have gone on until 4 o'clock in the morning. He was that good. And one of the words that I actually remember him getting was Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua, which is spelled Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua, and it's a Hawaiian word. And also, as an aside, I actually won the spelling bee once, or at least once, because despite the fact that Marcus was there. So yeah, and another time I went, there was a speller there whose name was Noam. He was in his late teenage years, so he was like 5 years older than I was. And Noam, along with everybody else there, with the exception of myself, had studied the dictionary. And so this is the same Noam that actually went to the same middle school as me, but I didn't realize that until much later on. So back then at the time, Noam and I didn't really know each other all that well. We were what one could consider acquaintances, and it wasn't until much more recently when I went to this program called Adaptations, where I felt like I got to know Noam a lot better because I was able to learn about the stuff I had in common with him, which I'll get to. But Adaptations is a program where it's at the JCC, Jewish Community Center in Manhattan, and you can make lifelong friends there as well as do some of your favorite activities, such as they had chorus and improv and art class and day trips. And it's really fun. I definitely recommend it. And it's for high functioning adults who are on the autism spectrum. So I got to know Noam a lot better there. And so when I went, so the first thing that I realized about Noam was that he lives in Riverdale, and first and foremost he has the exact same condition as I have, which is Asperger's syndrome. And so there are a few common interests that I have with Noam. One is that he really likes anything, including but not limited to words, like languages, spelling, that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate the fact that I also am interested in that kind of stuff, so I'm able to connect with him over that and relate to him over that. Then there's also one of my favorites, which is public transportation, and like riding public transportation. And I actually met a friend of his recently named Tommy, who's also interested in riding public transportation. And so we always would ride the R46s, which are the really old trains that are oftentimes on the A and C, and also the N and Q and W. And they're the trains that have the yellow walls and the orange and yellow seats. And then there's also the R179s, which are like the newer trains that have, not the newest trains, but they're like newer. And they have the light blue seats, and they're like, and white walls. They're like newer, but not the newest. So yeah, and then there's the newest trains which Noam, Tommy, and I all don't like. Which is the R211, which is like the really new train. And yeah, so we would always try to avoid those trains. So that's something that Noam, Tommy, and I all have in common. And then, in addition to that, I really like playing piano. I've been playing piano for the last 18 years, and Noam has briefly played piano too. And he was always really interested in music, so I had that in common with him. And when I told him I was interested in storytelling, he was really excited for me, and he actually went to a storytelling workshop himself to tell a story. I mean, not a workshop, an open mic to tell a story, and that was fun when I got to do that, and I'm glad he was excited for me about that. And then there was the fact that he sings in a Hebrew chorus, and I used to sing in a chorus that it wasn't in Hebrew, but it was in another language besides English. It was in Latin. So that was pretty fun, and I'm able to. It's close enough that I can connect with him over that and relate to him over that about that. And so yeah, I've only known Noam since February of 2024, or at least when I got to reconnect with him. So my actual friendship with him has been less than half a year old. However, I really like going to his performances, and he really likes going to mine. And also, he might have recommended a spelling bee that for adults that's monthly that I might consider going to. And I look forward to the next time I'm going to see him, which I'm not really sure when it'll be. But I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing Tommy later too. And yeah, thank you guys.
One more time, everybody, for Jason.